Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Steve Dan and this is my guitar. Welcome back and Happy New Year 2024. This is the second episode looking at Larry Carlton's Friday Night Shuffle, taken from his 1990 album Sapphire Blue. So this is the second episode. Last week we looked at the head, so make sure you head back to the first episode if you want to get a full overview of the piece. This week, we're going to be taking a look at his first chorus from the 12 bar. We're also going to be, as we go through, taking a look at every single chorus that he plays, and also his comping under the sax solo, and also I'm going to transcribe the sax solo for the Patreon members only as well. So make sure that you join up on Patreon. The link is on the screen at the bottom there and below in the show notes. If you head over to patreon.com/Exeter Guitar Lessons, you'll get the transcriptions for this series and everything else that is on my YouTube channel, including the backing tracks and a few little extras as well on there. You'll also get all of the arpeggio chord scale packs on there as well. And whilst we're on Patreon, I want to say a big thank you to my current patrons. There's loads of you on there now. But the ones that have joined up in the last 30 days, I'd like to say a big thank you to those guys. So to Stephen, Kresimir, I think that's how you pronounce your name, Clayton. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce this one, as I'm pretty sure that it's Mandarin. And then David, Uli, Kevin, Robert, Thelimoman22, Thelimoman22, sorry, Palvlo, John, Daryl, Russ, Ed, Farlow Fan, Angels of Fire, Forrest, and Jalex123. So thanks so much to you guys for signing up. You really do help to keep the wheels rolling here on this channel. If you would like to support but you don't want to do a subscription, then there is a link below in the show notes to buy me a coffee, and that's just a one-off thing. And then if, as you know, we've all spent loads of money over Christmas, I'm sure, and we're all a little bit skint. So if you don't want to pledge anything but you want to support, then all you have to do is hit the like and the subscribe button. And drop me a comment below, because I always like to hear from people. Big apologies for episode 1. I forgot to hit record on the guitar, which is just a rookie error after having a bit of a break from doing videos on YouTube. But I'm really sorry. I don't think it affected a lot of you, but big apologies anyway. This week I have hit record on the guitar, so it is there. Okay, let's take a look at the first 4 bars of the 12-bar solo. Okay, so the thing that Larry's doing here is he's using mostly the G minor pentatonic here, and he's adding in this note, the 6th note, so there. Okay, so it's all on 3 notes there, really, 4 if you count the bend. And it just shows you that you can make, 2 bars out of just a few notes there, and it can sound awesome. So just make sure that you're not, using tons and tons and tons of notes. Just a thing to kind of look at here is, because we looked at mixing scales last week with the G major and the G minor pentatonic, so I don't want to focus too much on that. We're going to get into some extra scales in this lesson, but I don't want to go back to the major and the minor pentatonic just yet. So the thing that I wanted to show here is that in the next 2 bars, when he goes up to here, okay, he's actually doing something which we call targeting the 3rd. And he does it when he gets to bar 49 in my transcription as well. When it goes to the 4 chord, he targets the 3rd again. Okay, and targeting the 3rd basically means that you're taking the 3rd from the triad of G major or C, depending on whether he's on the 1 chord or the 4 chord, and you're making that the focal point of what your line is in your solo, and that's what he's doing here, really. I mean, you could say that he's prioritizing the 3rd as well in the first 2 bars, and he's prioritizing the minor 3rd there because he's bending that A up to B flat. So he's prioritizing that note, which is the minor 3rd there. And then when he goes into the bar 47 and bar 48, he's then, which is the back to the 1 chord, he's then prioritizing the major 3rd. Okay, to really show that he's gone from the 4 chord back to the 1 chord. So this is a thing that you really need to make sure that you know, and that you know your arpeggios. So here's an example of where you can play the G major arpeggio in 4 different places across the fretboard, so that wherever you're playing, you should be able to find that 3rd. It's also followed by 4 bars of me showing you the 3rds in those positions. And then here's an example of me targeting those thirds using some of those positions. And so you can see there at the end, though, as we go to the 4 chord, to the C9, I'm actually targeting the third of that chord as well. So that note there, which is the E. So just make sure that you know the third for each chord, and then you can be targeting that, and it gives you a little bit more sophistication. It doesn't make you sound like you're kind of meandering too much over the chords. So I'm going to play you the next 4 bars, but we're going to kind of overlap a little bit between the first 4 bars and the next 4 bars. So here's bars 49 to 52 as per the transcription. In a 12 bar, that's bars 5 to 8. Here, what he's doing basically over the top of the C9 chord is he's using the G minor pentatonic. And if you rewind back to episode 1, you'll see that that's what we were doing. We were looking at mixing the G minor pentatonic. It works over the top of the C9 chord. And if you go back to that episode, you'll see where I explain that. What I want to do is just rewind a little bit to the previous 4 bars in this solo. So if you're looking at your transcription, that's going to be bars 47 and 48. And that's where we've got the 1 chord. Now, I talked about targeting the third earlier. As he goes through that line that he plays, so there, he's using a scale which is called the G Mixolydian scale. And that is wildly different from the minor pentatonic scale. As we know, it's got a major third in it. But it's not too different from the G major pentatonic scale, because it's just literally got an extra 2 notes added into it. 'Cause remember, a pentatonic scale is just 5 notes. So if you know your major pentatonic scale, then you'll know this one. But just to show you the difference between the minor pentatonic and the Mixolydian, here's the minor pentatonic and then followed by the Mixolydian scale. So obviously you can hear the wild difference between the two, and where to begin with, in bar 1 of the 12 bar, which on the transcription is bar 45, he's using a minor sound, and then here as he comes back he's using a Mixolydian sound. So that's why I wanted to show you the difference between the two. So you can use multiple scales over this 1 chord, the G9 chord, so don't be afraid to try and mix those scales over the top of them. Now the Mixolydian scale is great for doing really long lines, because obviously we're not thinking too much about triads and targeting notes, we're more thinking about long lines. So you can see here he's going up, and that note there, that B flat's been bent to it's a quarter tone, but it's being bent towards the major third. So it's still counting as the Mixolydian scale. Okay, so all of that stuff there is all just stuff taken from the Mixolydian scale with a little bit of bluesy flair when he's on the minor third there, bending it to the major third. So, and also bending that A as well here. So giving a little bit of a minor flavor in it. So he's kind of mixing the 2 scales though. So if you really digest those 2 scales and see the difference between the 2 of them and then start mixing them together, it creates the opportunity for these really nice, long, linear, melodic lines. So do experiment with that. So here's an example of me doing that. So you can see that what I've done is I've gone from bars 3 and 4 of the 12 bar structure to bars 5 and 6 of the 12 bar structure. And on your transcriptions, that's covering bars 47 through to 50 of Larry's solo. What I'm kind of trying to show you there is the use of the Mixolydian scale, and then as I go back to that 4 chord, the C9, then I'm going back to using the minor pentatonic to kind of juxtapose the 2 sounds, the major, very majory sound with the major third, going back to the minor sound with the minor third. Okay, let's move on to the next 2 bars, okay, and these next 2 bars are basically giving an approach to the 2/5. So in these 2 bars here, he's using a bit of a chromatic approach. what he's basically doing is he's taking 3 notes and then he's creating a little bit of a descending legato line. So something like this. So what this is what's called a chromatic transition, or what I call a chromatic transition. And he's targeting, okay? So he's targeting this note here. So he's wanting to head from that 1 chord to the 3rd of A-7, which is the chord that's coming up. In the transcription for Larry, it's bar 53, just so you know. In a normal 12-bar structure, this will be bar 9, okay? Now, he's using this 2-5 thing here. Instead of just going to a 5 chord, he's making it a little bit more sophisticated by adding in a 2 chord, the A-7, and then going to a D9. We're looking at the approach into that 2 chord. And what he's doing is he's giving a chromatic approach. So the notes that he's really using are D, C sharp or D flat, and then going to that C. Okay, so this is what really matters, is these 3 notes, this chromatic descent. And all he's doing is he's building a legato line around it to make it sound, kind of nice and ornamented. So all he's doing is he's repeating the same line. Now, don't get too hung up on all of these notes like this bit here. Okay, that's not going to be diatonic at all. But don't overanalyze that bit. All it is it's just a chromatic descent. That's all it is. It just sounds good. Okay, and it facilitates that whole chromatic descent of those 3 notes there. So he can get to those 2 notes there, which outline the A-7, the C and the G, the flat 3rd and the flat 7 of A-7. So why not try using that in your playing? Here's an example of me doing that. I give you the notes that are really important. This time I'm doing an ascent rather than a descent. So I'm going up from A to B flat to B to C, and then I actually play the line. Okay, so here's that. Let's take a look at the last 4 bars of his solo. On your transcription for Larry, it will be 53 through to 56. In a normal 12-bar structure, that's going to be bars 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so here, what I'm going to extract out from what he's playing here is the use of arpeggios, okay? So the first arpeggio that he's using is an A-7 arpeggio, or a fragment of it. And then the second arpeggio he's using is, weirdly, over the top of the D chord, the 5 chord, he's using a G arpeggio. And this isn't uncommon. He's basically just going straight from that A minor straight back to the 1 chord there, and he's just playing lots of bluesisms towards the end. So here's those arpeggios. So you've got the A-7 arpeggio followed by a G7 arpeggio. So here's that. So what Larry's doing, see, he's got these notes here, the C and the G, which we just covered, and then so this bit here, the E and the G, that's the fragment from the A-7 arpeggio, the E and the G, and then he's heading towards this note here, okay, which is the C, and he's heading up via a chromatic ascent. So it's delayed resolution there. And then there's your G arpeggio there. And then okay, and then this bit at the end is really, really interesting. It actually took me a few attempts to get the rhythm right, and I'm not even certain that I have got it absolutely perfect on there. Basically what he's doing is he's really delaying, and it's so hard to write this stuff down because it's just felt in the moment, and his rhythm is so crisp. But basically what he's doing is he's laying back quite a bit at the end. Rather than being right on the grid, he's laying back with his rhythm. And then hitting it bang on the 1 there really crisply. So just experiment with laying back a little bit in as you're playing. Here's an example of me using just those arpeggios. There's no laying back in this one at the end. There's quite a fast, furious line at the end there that I played before the end. But do try doing some laying back in your solo. Okay, you made it all the way through, if you did. Thanks for watching this far. Thanks for supporting this channel. Thank you to all my patrons. Don't forget to buy me a coffee. Link is below if you want to do that. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and drop me a comment. You can even hit the bell if you want to be notified of when the next lesson is coming up, which should be in 2 or 3 weeks' time. I'm aiming to get out 2 videos every single month. So head over to Patreon if you want all the transcriptions and the backing tracks for this series and all the other series that are on my channel. And don't forget to, you can also drop me an email if you've got any questions, if you don't want to put it in the comments below. Thanks for following along this series. Next week, we're going to take a look at another chorus from his this 12 bar, and I will see you then. Bye.